Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 28 degrees outside. Shane Matabin, half man, half amazing, is in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, making radio great again. Mental floss for your brain. We are here every weekday for you. How you doing, Shane?
Well, I'm pretty good this morning.
Good.
Alive and well. There's just so much news to think about and consider.
Yes, there is.
But what a ball that they're batting around. I mean, this is really fun to watch. What a comedy of errors. I mean, seriously, they announced their impeachment charges, 0, and then they agree to vote on the USMCA. So they take away and give him back. I mean,
right, yeah.
talk about the art of the deal,
They cancel each other out.
Yeah, I know. And then they take credit for the USMCA.
Yeah, that they fixed it.
Yeah, what abuse of power. As Speaker of the House, we've talked about this. The only consideration your House has on a treaty is to fund it, not to renegotiate it.
Yeah.
And so talk about abuse of power. Here she does. She steps in and abuses her power as Speaker of the House and decides she wants to renegotiate the treaty.
Yeah. So.
Which did nothing. I mean, she gave up on it. I can't imagine she called him yesterday to tell him that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then the rally he had last night in Pennsylvania.
We're getting some. We're getting some clicking. You clicking something? Anything?
Just moving my.
Yeah, that's clicking. Yeah, stop it. Don't do that.
Okay. So he had that rally last night, and it was 10, 11,000 people. But the fact is, it just packed to the rafters with people, and you see this in Pennsylvania once again, and it I mean, really, it's like, it's a year to the election, and Democrats haven't even picked a nominee yet, and he's having these crowds. It's incredible, incredible.
That it is.
He went hard at that rally last night.
Yeah. Well, it still just baffles me the number of people that show up for these things. I mean, it's just amazing the crowds that I don't really I remember when Obama was going around. He got some pretty good crowds, but I can't. Crowds like he brings in, pretty amazing.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines is he goes, "Look at this crowd, and I don't even have a guitar."
I know, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's nice to be with you. Good morning. It's Hump Day, Wednesday, so it's a safe day, right?
It's a safe day. Hey, this is your official safe space. You can come here. Right. You can come here and feel safe. Well, our weather today, we've got snow every day till Tuesday, Shane. So it's a snowy forecast. If this will put you in the Christmas spirit, I don't know what will. A 20% chance of snow after 9 a.m. this morning, and mostly cloudy with a high near 37. No real accumulation. That'll probably just be some flakes blowing around. Tonight, we're going to have a low of 28 degrees, mostly cloudy. And then on Thursday, a chance of snow before 3 p.m., then a chance of rain and snow mix. That'll be good for driving. And it'll be mostly cloudy with a high near 42. Chance of precipits 50% on Thursday. And new snow accumulation of less than an inch is possible, half inch rather, less than a half inch. Thursday night, there's a 40% chance of snow. It's going to be mostly cloudy with a low around 26. And new snow accumulation of less than half inch is possible, but we are going to have some gusts of 22-mile-an-hour winds, so that may make driving a little difficult after dark. On Friday, we've got a 30% chance of snow, mostly cloudy with a high near 36. And again, we're going to have some 18-mile-an-hour winds. New snow accumulation of less than half an inch is possible. Friday night, 20% chance of snow, mostly cloudy with a low around 18. And then on Saturday, a 30% chance of snow, mainly before noon, and little or no accumulation is expected on Saturday during the day. Saturday night, slight chance of snow before midnight, mostly cloudy, but it's going to get cooler, a low around 13. And then on Sunday, slight chance of snow again before noon, mostly cloudy, high near 28. And Sunday night, slight chance of snow after midnight, mostly cloudy with a low around 13 on Sunday night. Monday, for your commute back to work, a slight chance of snow, partly sunny with a high near 27. And then Monday night, a slight chance of snow, mostly cloudy with a low around 14. And then on Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high near 33. So the snow kind of moves out on Tuesday, Shane. So we're doing pretty well there. Temperatures around the area right now, Livingston's 37 degrees, Manhattan's 24, Three Forks is 29, Gallatin Gateway's 28, Ennis is 33 right now, Gardner is 29, and West Yellowstone, it's 21 degrees there. And at the airport in Belgrade right now, it's 22 degrees, and we're right at 28 degrees here in our downtown studios at 12 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. Road conditions look pretty good. There is ice and snow between Bozeman and Livingston, so but the pass is open. Everything is pretty well green, but in some of the shaded areas there, you may see some patches of black ice, so be careful going that way. Also, we've got high winds all the way from Livingston, well, all the way from Bozeman Pass, actually, over to almost to Columbus and up to Big Timber and north into Hawthorne. Townsend from Livingston looks pretty good. So does the 287 going up to Helena. Leaving Bozeman and Four Corners going down to the park is a little iffy. Rain or snow and ice on that road. Going down through Ennis, it's pretty clear till you get right to the park, and then there's some snow and ice warnings there when you get into the shaded areas down there. So all in all, over to Butte, pretty clear over there. They got some high winds, and again, some of the bridges may be icy and slick. So just, be on the lookout for patches of ice and snow as you make your commute wherever you're going today. So we want you to get there safely, of course. Our poll question from yesterday, do you balance your bank account to the penny each month? Well, 51% of you said, yes, I'm very good with money. That's good. That's good to know in this economy. 23% of you said almost never. And 7% said, no, I still have checks, so I still have money. And 3% said sometimes. And some other answers, no, I track my account regularly online. My account balances my bank account, no more eat the babies. And no, I do my banking online so I can check my balances anytime. And the last answer is, ha, ha. Will I balance my checkbook? Ha. Fat chance of that happening. Well, our poll question today, have you finished your Christmas shopping yet? Well, 33% of you said yes, now I can relax. 16% said no, it's not the 24th yet. And some other answers, today is payday, so now I can get started. And another answer, I do my shopping throughout the year, so no hustle and bustle for me. And another listener has had it done since Thanksgiving. So there you go with the poll questions of the day. So pretty good, huh? What do you think, Shane? That worked for
wonderful. You went through that like just fast.
I know, man. Hey, it's hump day,
It's
I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Let's rock and roll.
All right.
Let's take care of our ranchers and farmers, and then we can get into the things, this day in history anyway, because we got a lot of things happening in history today. We're making history today with the impeachment debacle and whatever, so we're excited. So we got a lot to talk about. So For all the ranchers and farmers out there, if you're sitting down to a good, comfortable breakfast, by all means, thank a rancher, thank a farmer, thank a truck driver for getting it to the market for you, thank a cab driver if they brought you Uber or something like that, or whatever, or Grubhub, or whatever's delivered, a pizza. Who
Breakfast
knows?
in a box. Yeah,
That's right. All those people. Yeah, we need to thank them. Prolific. Well, I'm not going to say that.
Right.
Can't pronounce the word. But particularly this time of year, it's hard work out there. There's snow, there's ice, all kinds of things that they're driving around. So and it's really cold to go out there and feed the cattle, feed the hogs, and go out there and pitch the hay and do all that stuff for your animals and everything. So believe me, we appreciate so much what you do out there on your ranch or your farm or wherever. So we'll be right back right after news and ag, right after this. 22 minutes after the hour, it's it's Wednesday, hump day. Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing, on the line with me. And in a related story, Shane, for our ag listeners out there, Montana Governor Steve Bullock has requested a disaster designation from the U.S. Department of Agriculture for 11 counties that reported significant weather-related crop losses. The Billings Gazette reported Bullock has submitted the request to Agricultural Secretary Sonny Perdue, and approval of the request covering 2019 weather damage would make affected producers eligible for emergency loans and other federal emergency assistance programs. Officials say approval or disapproval of a disaster designation is the final step in a multi-part review process after a governor submits a request. So Richland County has been cited a likely loss of $6.9 million in sugar beet crops alone. So we got 11 counties out there that had significant weather damage to their crops and whatever. So let's hope Sonny Perdue and the government can help these farmers out, and hopefully that will be a positive outcome for them. So it should be. Let's hope for the best for those folks over there in Richmond County and the other 10 counties that are affected by that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, in 1816, on this date, Indiana became the 19th state, Shane.
Yeah, it's it's in area. It's the 38th largest state in your country, 17th most populous. The great thing about the state, they have the NFL Indianapolis Colts and the NBA Indiana Pacers, and the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah.
The capital is Indianapolis. They have two senators, Todd Young and Mike Braun, both Republicans, and a delegation of 9 House members, 7 Republican, 2 Democrat. Lots of water in the state. It's held up very well. Population 6.87 million, and the average household income $54,000, which ranks it as number 35. The Hoosier State, of course, we all know it as that because of basketball.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about it is it's the state of the vice president, Pence, who is the governor, and, of course, Buttigieg of South Bend, who's running for president. So
Yeah.
it's in the news a lot, and it is a relative state when you look at that blue wall, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota. But it qualifies because with the delegation that it has, that's 11 electoral votes, right? So
Yeah.
it's an important state.
Yeah. An interesting story about Indiana is, the settlers were crossing, Indiana on their way west, and they came across an Indian who had been selling apples, but he was robbed, and, which left the Indianapolis. So the settlers decided they would build a city right there.
That's right.
And
That's
of course,
the beginning of Indianapolis. That's
no, they named it. No, they named it Gary, Indiana, because the Indian's name was Gary Thundercloud. So.
Oh, what a name! I love the name.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Yeah.
But Eagleman's better.
Yeah.
Tom Eagleman is much better.
Much better. Yeah.
Yeah, all that native blood you have, of course.
That was a poor joke. 1936, on this date, Britain's King Edward VIII. I'm Henry VIII. No, it's Edward VIII, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that
song
doesn't work with Edward. I'm Edward VIII. I am. No, that doesn't work. Britain's King Edward VIII abdicated the throne in order to marry American divorcee Wallace Warford Simpson. And we all remember that, huh?
And the reason this is somewhat important, only two, is because he abdicated on the 10th of December, 1936. The family of Windsor wasn't too upset about it because he was a Nazi sympathizer. So they sent him off to the Bahamas to hide him. And the other thing was he was the last emperor of India. So there you go. I mean, other than that, Wallace Simpson, not a real looker, but someone he fell in love with. And, he served in the British Army in the First World War. And, it's not that he didn't do his job well. He just didn't want to do his job anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The British, the British don't have an appreciation, I don't think, for attracting us. Okay. What, Charles gave up Diana for Camilla Bowles? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
it definitely needed a dentist. I don't know.
They all need help over there with that. And this guy gives up the throne for this divorcee, so I don't know.
Well, all these people have what they call as a dresser, literally, that dresses them. And literally dresses them, picks out their outfit, and then actually helps them dress every day. And I mean, it's things like that. I mean, the lifestyle they have, you just wonder, like, really? You decide?
Yeah, I can't get dressed on my own? Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
I know, must be nice, huh? Well, in 1941, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, which responded in kind. Well, didn't we free Italy?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about this is, on December 9th, Roosevelt declared war on Japan. He never declared war on Italy or Germany, but because they were an axis, they had a treaty between the three of them. So if the U.S. declared war on any of them, then they would automatically declare war on the U.S., which is why Italy and Germany declared war on the U.S. So it's an interesting subtext of World War II. The U.S. never declared war on Germany or Italy, just Japan.
Yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this portion anyway. We'll be back with more stuff you need to know, obviously, about this day in history. We've got the Apollo mission. We've got the UN. We've got Russian troops. We got 150 countries and global warming. And,
Chechnya. We got to talk just for a moment about Chechnya. This is good stuff.
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff. Alex Rodriguez, of course, Bernie Madoff, Tiger Woods. We got a lot to talk about here on this day in history. It's quite a day. So, all right. Hey, don't forget our KMMS app, AM 1450 KMMS. Download our app. You can use our app chat, which is right next to the listen button. You can just pop over to the listen button, and while you're listening to us, you can talk to us on the app chat. And, hey, we get credit for that stuff, Come on. We don't get paid for it, but we get credit for it. So we'll be right back. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 30 degrees outside. And from our text line, 478-8298. Hey, guys, just curious, when do you get the results of sweeps weeks? Probably, I'm guessing, around the 1st of January. They usually end right before Thanksgiving. They process everything during December, and late December, early January, we'll probably get ratings. And this will be the first time that we've been through, an entire ratings period, 2 of them actually. So we'll see what happens with that. So I don't know how much Town Square puts on ratings because we're the only game in town. If we were still competing with Dave and Dean across town, that would, there'd be a comparison between the two stations. We'd be on at the same time, but we're the only live local here in Bozeman. So whether that will, even if we do well, does Town Square say, well, you did well because you're the only game in town? So I don't know how Town Square looks at that, but what they do look at is how many apps we sign up, how many people go to our website, how many people like our Facebook page, things like that are the things that they look at pretty hard, because that's an indication that the station is growing. If we can grow the apps. Last year, we exceeded every goal Town Square set for apps, for page views, and all of that. So we're very fortunate that people have supported us that well on the station. So it's we really appreciate you guys out there supporting us. And on January 3rd, Angie Ripple will be in, and we'll get the results of the Bozeman Reader's Choice. And she'll be in here to give us the results and how we did and all that. So we're excited to see her, and that'll be on January 3rd coming up. So we got to wait till the magazine comes out before it's all in a Martin jar somewhere in Bozeman, hidden, the results, of this. So we'll see how we did. So
I think the advertisers take an interest in how well we do in the demographics of the people that listen.
Yeah,
and
sure.
So I do think sweeps are very important, but that's just my opinion.
Well, they are. That's what determines our advertising revenue. Is how many people are listening to us. So, but whether Town Square looks at Tom and Shane and says, "God, these guys are doing a great job. Look at their ratings," but we have no competition. So, XL Country's got other stations they compete with, and so does the other the other music stations all have competition here locally. So
yeah,
so that makes that's a little more demonstrative, I think, to the Town Square folks. So I don't know, I'm just saying. So anyway, the sweeps question was from Not Your Sister Tam. So
that's nice.
And she's reduced it to NYS Tam.
It's a handle.
So that's good. I like that.
Put an X in front of it and start a
new band or something.
A tweet on Twitter.
Yeah. There you are. Hey, thanks, Tam, very much for listening. Thanks for commenting on our text line. We really appreciate hearing from all our texters, all our app chatters, all the folks that contact us offline. We're very fortunate that not everybody feels comfortable calling us, Shane. So it's good that we've got a way that they can contact us and give their 2 cents worth and, be a part of the program. Because that's what we are. We're a family here. So we've always been a family. So, we don't always agree across the turkey, at the dinner table, but at least we voice our opinions freely and without reservation. So, all right. Let's see, 1946 on this date, UNICEF, the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, was established, and I think all of us at one time or another went around door to door with a cup or something, said, "We're collecting for UNICEF." And everybody said, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. Feed the world, feed the starving children. Yeah. Established in 1946, 72 years ago. Now, I want to just go through this in 30 seconds. Just gives you an idea of what and how the United Nations operates. So the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, it was reviewed by and established by the UN General Assembly, and it became a permanent part of the United Nations system. And then underneath that, it's governed by, you like this, a 36-member executive board that oversees its programs, and the board is made up of government representatives elected by the United Nations Economic and Social Council, and its offices are based in Copenhagen, $5.2 billion a year, none of which comes from the United Nations, directly from countries. 2/3 come from government, private groups, and individuals, and the rest comes through national committees approving it from the United Nations. But so they're individual committees, run by individual groups. So There you go. That's what you call government, global government at its best.
That's for sure. Well, it's 18 minutes for the top of the hour. We've got to take another short break here, so we'll be back with more This Day in History right after this. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Wednesday. It's Hump Day in Bozeman, Montana. It's December 11, 2019. It's 30 degrees outside. Got a little snow in the forecast today for the next 5 or 6 days. No accumulation to speak of, but flurries are going to be floating around, so may make driving hazardous. So be careful out there. There are lots of slick spots in the shaded areas, so be careful. On this date in 1972, man landed on the moon for the last time during the Apollo 17 mission, Shane.
Incredible. The crew was unique in their experience and knowledge. Eugene Seaman was the commander who, of course, stayed in space. The lunar module pilot, went on the moon. The lunar module pilot in space was Harrison Schmitt. And, I did it again. Okay, let's start over. Eugene Sherman and Harrison Schmitt landed on the moon.
Okay.
And the command module was Ronald Evans. But he wasn't alone. He had 5 mice that traveled 75 times around the moon with them, and they all came home well. They didn't have names. They were given appropriate numbers: 3326, 3400, 3305, 3356, and 3352. Why is that relevant? Because they had to compare them to the other mice at home. Anyway, there was a great lunar roving vehicle, and this is the most important thing about it, I think. They landed in the Taurus Littoral Valley, which was a massive field of meteor impacts, which of course haven't been, touched or changed or anything since the billions of years ago when it was struck. And this was when they confirmed what they thought about the moon's surface is it's covered with rare, which we've talked about, rare minerals, and it's a miner's dream because it's just a matter of going up there and scooping it up and bringing it back. So that was the reason they sent up a bigger lunar module so they could cover a larger area in that area. And it was also an area of volcanic activity because the moon is cold, the core is cold, which is why it has so little gravity. They were there for several days. It was one of the last experiences. It was a J-type mission, meaning men on the moon. So the 3 days spent were traveling around in a nice buggy with color TV for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, that was good, cool. Even though the moon's pretty much black and white, but that's okay. Right. Yeah. Well, the other thing that's interesting, the first moon landing was in '69, and this is '72. Yeah. 3 years later, 16 people went to the moon. 16 people wandered around on the moon's surface. I think a lot of people don't realize that. Besides Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, there's a whole bunch of folks that have wandered around up there.
Yeah, and they had plans for at least another 5 launches, but the public lost interest in it, and I don't know. Maybe they put a group together to determine whether this was, a sound policy or not. But we won't really know because they weren't aware of the damage that space travel was doing to the human body at the time because they didn't have the knowledge of DNA and several other things. But everybody wants to go back. But I had an epiphany because I was reading about this. Can I tell you real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, these guys are all planning to go into space. Yeah. And Mr. Musk is, to me, he's like, he's incredible. He's just, anyway. So, the one thing I've always found fascinating in traveling, especially air travel, is that no one's done anything to increase the speed, right? Because, they've increased the size of planes to carry people. Right. But, the only thing was the Concorde, the SST. So now I'm thinking, how could you possibly? And then I had this epiphany. No wonder he's launching rockets that take off and land. Yeah. Now, here's my epiphany. So what he's figured out is that when he launches a rocket with people in it, it goes up. And as it goes straight up in the atmosphere. And as the Earth is turning, it will move over a space to land in Europe. So then he lets it drop down, and the flight to Europe could take less than an hour.
Well, depending on how high it goes and how how long it takes to get up and down.
But we'll do it. I mean, it's like well, yeah, but
but the Earth doesn't.
$50,000 for.
Yeah, but if you launch from Florida, I don't think the Earth rotates in an hour over to Europe.
I went and checked. Yeah, so
well, the time zones might change. Maybe that's it.
No, but that's not the point. It goes up at an angle.
Well, okay? Yeah. Well, it would. Yeah, it'd have to.
Down and
it'd have to. Yeah, it'd have to go up an elliptical something or other. So,
yeah, of course. But the point, no, you don't want to go elliptical over. But the point is, it would be a faster way to travel, and he could, could. It
would look like the St. Louis Arch.
Well, the point is to fly in the Concorde is $15,000 one way. So
yeah, I know.
There's people out there that would pay $50,000 just to get to Europe quicker. And
unlike a plane, you could make the cabin compartment with parachutes. If anything happened to the rocket, you could parachute down in the middle of Italy or somewhere.
I just like thinking about.
I love it.
That's how wacky I am. Okay,
yeah,
I'm pretty wacky.
Yeah, that's pretty wacky. All right. All right. We got to take another short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. It's 8 minutes before the top of the hour. 5 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 30 degrees outside. Shaman Taubin, Tom Eaglehoff on the air. And in 1981, the UN Security Council chose Javier Perez de Cuello of Peru to be its 5th Secretary General. What about him,
concept? Yeah, he's Spanish, of course.
Yes.
And he was a Peruvian diplomat and the 5th Secretary General in the United Nations, from 82 to 891. It's interesting how this club in the United Nations, these guys wander around. It's amazing that he's 99 now, and 319 days is still the oldest living former Peruvian prime minister. Nothing major accomplished because it's just a huge building of people being just paid money. They really don't accomplish a lot. But the one thing that I did want to say, he was succeeded by Boutros Ghali, who was also from Peru, and he was the 135th prime minister of Peru. Wow. So you talk about swapping governments out there. I mean, God, Peru is a busy one.
Well, that would work. Yeah. Well, I always love the name Boutros Ghali, though. You gotta love that name. Yeah. 1994, Russian troops rolled into breakaway Republic of Chechnya in a failed bid to restore Moscow's control over the region.
Yeah, and it's a sad thing because the North Caucasus and the Chechens were white Russians, which they've always paid for the last 100 years by the communists, and Putin isn't any different. There was an explosion in Moscow, and he attributed it to the rebels in the Caucasus, and went in and destroyed the capital Grozny because of it. But the reason I wanted to talk about this real quick is the North Caucasus in Russia has the oldest average age group of any group of humans on the planet. The average age of life expectancy, I believe now, is 105. And about 30 years ago, a bunch of scientists, after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 91, a bunch of scientists went there to study this. They wanted to figure out, now, what would be the cause of this? How could these people be living out in the middle of these mountains and live so long? Real quick, what they discovered, the scientists, biologists, and everybody, was the water they drank. The water they drank was glacier water. And what they found when they analyzed the water was all the minerals that the glacier had created and the water carried out created this milky water. And so the water they were drinking was full of minerals, natural minerals that our body requires. From arsenic to lead. I mean, we need it all for our bodies. Mm-hmm. And this is what gave them such a long-lasting life. Wow. The amazing thing about it is the pharmaceutical companies did nothing with it because guess what? It's all natural.
Well, yeah, we can't manufacture anything. That sucks.
You can't patent anything that's like natural.
Yeah,
I love that story. I think that's a great story.
Yeah, it is. 1997 on this date, more than 150 countries agreed to a global warming conference in Kyoto, Japan, the Kyoto Accord, of course, to take steps to control greenhouse gas emissions. And what has that done in, 20 years or so?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
You know, and this was before the whole thing started in 2000. But I just want we withdrew from it in December 2012. So it was ineffective. They did nothing.
Yeah. Well, there was no teeth in it. There was no penalties or you just voluntarily went about your business, so to speak.
It was just a ridiculous cost to countries for meetings and so forth. So there you go.
Well, on this date in 1998, the House Judiciary Committee approved 3 articles of impeachment against President Bill Clinton, and just yesterday, 2 articles of impeachment against Donald Trump.
That's right.
So what are the chances of the Senate convicting him? We'll talk about that when we come back at the top of the hour. So stay tuned for our thoughts on that when we come back. So. All right, it is, less than a minute before the top of the hour, so we'll be back with more local stuff and some national stuff as well, so stay tuned. We got a lot to do today. No guests, so open lines, open minds, text us, app chat us, call us, whatever, and we'll be here for you. All right, we'll be back right after the news at the top of the hour. We got Fox News, we got Montana State News, we got Brick Foster weather, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 29 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And Shane's been talking to a listener on the line, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, Shane and I have been vigorously debating the whistleblower law.
Yeah.
If the whistleblower is called, he has to appear.
Yes.
At the Senate trial.
Yeah, he would.
The whistleblower is only entitled to job protection.
Exactly. Can't be retaliated against by his employer for blowing the whistle.
But he no guarantee of anonymity.
No. Nope. That's all he's protected against is losing his employment.
Very good, Tom.
Yep.
You're almost as good as Trump was in Hershey last night. You really melted him down.
I did. I should be president. I don't know why I'm not, but I should be.
I don't know. You missed your calling. Man.
Yeah, that's it. I should have started earlier. I should have run for dog catcher back in the 60s.
I do like your bumper music, though. I like the Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Well, I try. There hasn't been any good music since 1980.
You got the best bumper music in the business.
Well, that's what I try to do. So, I got 12 pages here of bumper music I can play. So, try to mix it up. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Shane, you said Boutros Ghali was from Peru. He was from Egypt.
No.
No, Boutros Ghali was Egyptian.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're saying he's Peruvian?
Yeah, he was 135th Prime Minister of Peru. I was just looking on it with the history of Peru.
He may have been from Egypt to begin with. Maybe he migrated to Peru.
I didn't read that much more about him, but yeah, that's very possible.
Yeah, he's not Peruvian. He's Egyptian.
Okay. Still a great name, though, Boutros. It's like Sirhan.
Well, it's like the guy from Japan that immigrated to Peru, and he became, the prime minister of Peru. And then got caught in a scandal and everything.
Yeah.
run away to Japan. Yeah, Peru's got a great history of politics.
Yeah, they do.
Well, who knows? My name is Vinny Vinny.
Well, there. See?
Well, Tom and I will nominate you for the next General Secretary of the United Nations.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
There you go.
Now
This
we're
man's
talking.
definitely going to be the American choice for ambassador to the United Nations.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to argue with Shane.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that was good.
that's okay. He can hold his own.
I tried.
He really can.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Even when he's wrong.
Even when he's wrong, he holds it up.
Yep, he does.
I have to project like the Democrats. Okay?
Now there you are.
He told me that he's read the IG law.
Oh yeah.
It's true. I did.
The IG report. Yeah.
No, the
IG law.
Oh, okay.
IG
Oh, okay. What the?
I was telling him that it's only the Inspector General that reviews this like whistleblower report. He can't expose his name, but anyone else can.
Yeah. So.
He actually
But
said
still
that to me. He said that with conviction.
Yeah.
I mean,
Beg your pardon?
You
he
said it
can
with
hold his
conviction.
own. I mean, he actually said he had me believe in that, believe it or not.
Oh.
But it's true. Yeah, it's true. But I mean, if you read the Horowitz report, 434 pages. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's a little. Yeah, that's a little.
The interesting thing is that the whistleblower completely discredited himself when he was, interviewed by Horowitz.
True. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see from our text line. What chance do you, venerable gentlemen, think there is that the Senate will vote for impeachment? Well, there's about as much chance of them impeaching Trump as there is Trump beating Clinton in the general election in 2016. Let me tell you that. So,
I still say Hillary Clinton and BB. Hillary Clinton runs again, and Bloomberg vice president for Bloomberg's billions that go out there and try and beat Trump. That'll be good.
There you go. From our text line, Kevin, Boutros Ghali was from Egypt. So there you are, Shane.
Yeah, he was probably originally from Egypt, but he was, he led Peru for us.
Trump saying horrible things about the FBI and praises Putin. Wow, just wow. Everyone else is lying and he's telling the truth. Well, pretty hard to deny. Some of the FBI certainly was not very kosher.
That's true. It's a very harsh thing to believe. I mean, you don't expect your own intelligence services to spy on political parties and stuff. That's just, well, I guess we've talked about it. It's gone on for 70 years since FDR. You and I both know that. This is the first time it's come out.
From our text line 4788298, stupid is knowing the truth, seeing the truth, but still believing the Trump lies. Okay, well, if that's all you got is the Trump lies, you don't have very much.
Well, it's sad you ignore what he's accomplished and what he's done. That's the one thing, right? That's what people, it's denial.
Denial. All right. So, well, in local news, believe it or not, Shane, we reported some time back about the Fellowship of Christian Athletes that were in the news that the school board was going to get rid of them because they didn't like gays. Well, it isn't that they didn't like gays; they just had a different belief than gays. They were Christians, so anyway, the Bozeman High School students in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes are defending their club against accusations of being anti-gay, while adult supporters are asking trustees to overrule administrators and restore the club's official recognition. 3 high school students raised their concerns to the Bozeman School Board at Monday night's meeting. We focus on creating an environment where all are welcome, said Bridger Wilkes, one of the FCA club student leaders. We believe everyone is of great worth and value to God, and therefore deserves the dignity and respect. We can disagree with people and still love them. And I would agree with that. Just because your feelings are hurt doesn't mean you go to the top of the class.
Well, the bottom line here is there's only three ways you can identify someone's sexual orientation. A, they've told you. B, you've seen them in the act. Or C, you participated in the act with them. So unless people join this club and admit that they got a problem, because if one of those three things aren't available for them to decide who does or doesn't join their club, and people could join it anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, and why? I don't know. To my way of thinking, if somebody on the high school campus wants to start a KKK club, I think they ought to be able to do it. Now, will people like it? Of course not. But if they want to do it, I think, if that's their belief, if that's their feeling, misguided or wrong as it can be, who decides what's freedom and what's not? Who decides what's diverse and what's not?
Yeah, that's true.
Come on. As ridiculous as that is, and somebody probably wouldn't do it anyway. But still, simply because you have a certain religious belief, that these kids do, and credit to them that they've at least got some belief structure in their lives, and somebody else says, well, gee, your faith says I'm not welcome. My feelings are hurt, so you have to get out. Well, I'm sorry, but no, you don't. You don't have to get out, just because you're, I don't know.
Well, and this is a great example of what I've said. When man is ruled by laws and not morals, anything's acceptable. Mm-hmm. And, traditions and historical beliefs and people's faith have guided their morals for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
And, so now in the woke society, and, people, they just want to turn this around. And, and it's one of those issues that we're having to come to deal with on a regular basis in everyone's life.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're so fearful of people calling us names if we object to any kind of personal behavior of someone. We're ostracized and kicked to the curb, particularly if you're Christian, because there's Christians, unfortunately, aren't a protected group.
Which, under your Constitution, or rather the Bill of Rights to your Constitution, they should be.
Well, they should be, yeah. Well, all groups should be, but,
all minorities should, or,
Yeah.
And,
but, I'm glad these students are standing up for themselves, that more people should do that, just because someone has this belief and their feelings are hurt, if you don't acknowledge them appropriately in their mind, then, oh my God, well, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a xenophobe, you're a, you're whatever phobe I can think of. And that ends the argument, because I've called you a name and you don't have any standing now. So.
Yep. And this all started with a book written in 1859, Origin of the Species.
Yep.
And that's changed the ideology of science and medicine and biology, completely. So it's interesting that we see ourselves and how society can change in its concepts and morals.
You're right. 18 minutes after the hour, we've got to take a short break here. We'll be back in 2 minutes, so stay tuned. 20 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it's Wednesday, December 11, 2019, 30 degrees outside from our text line. So if the KKK is now okay with Tom, is an ISIS club okay too? Yes, it would be okay.
Of course it would be.
Yeah. How far down the hate train would you like to go? Well, is there a hate against the Christians by the gays in the high school, or vice versa? I don't think so. But can they not coexist, even though their beliefs are different? And Yeah, I'm not advocating for a KKK or an ISIS club, but if somebody wants to start one, I think we live in a free society. I think you should be able to start whatever club you want and face the consequences. People are not going to like your club very much, or they may not like the members of your club. Well, isn't that what the Christians and gays of the high school are going through right now?
Well, that's right. And the premise of the Democratic Party is to be tolerant of everyone, and that there should be no disparities. But when you look at them and what they talk about, they're intolerant of. You can't be intolerant of everyone that you think is protected, but then not tolerate people that you disagree with. So it's a very interesting, oxymoron for them to have to come to terms with. But at the end of the day, a lot of minority groups that have existed for a long time without any kind of protection now do. And one of the things we enjoyed discussing with people is, what haven't these minority groups gotten? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. LGBT, what have not they been given? Women, everybody.
Yeah.
African Americans, immigrants, like, what have they not been granted as minorities yet by your government? And that's why it's the greatest country club in the world. That's why everyone wants to come there, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. Okay, let's see. Congress. Well, we know the First Amendment. Congress make no law respecting an establishment of religion, which means that the state can't make a religion that you have to adhere to.
That's right, and and you have someone on the phone.
We do, yeah. Yeah, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I got a club for you, Tom.
Okay.
They call it a bat.
What?
The diversity grant.
Yeah.
Shane's making a good point. I don't like your flag. Your flag upsets me. Your hat upsets me.
Yeah.
Your statue upsets me. This upsets me. That upsets me. Well, you get a right to be upset.
Yeah.
Just don't give me any crap about it. I don't care if you're upset.
Yeah, go to your safe space and be upset.
Yeah.
Somebody told me the other day they didn't like my Trump hat.
Yeah.
I said, well, you know what? Maybe you should seek professional help if you're offended by a hat.
Yeah. There you are. Yeah. What's your problem?
Your face upsets me, but you don't hear me complaining about it.
Yeah, nice shoes, Pete.
Yeah, right.
I don't like your hat, but I like your shoes.
Yeah, nice shoes. Hat stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those, $300 checkpoint shoes you're running around in.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like that gun you got there. Oh, why not? It's a nice one.
Yeah.
It's brand new. Just bought it the other day.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's got ammunition in it. Oh my God. Yeah, they, the panacea of diversity, it just ain't there.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna complain and whine about everything,
yeah,
I don't even want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't even acknowledge you in a conversation other than say, get out of my way. I'm trying to go over there and work on the statue.
Yeah. Well, didn't we have a guy, McGuire, that was a KKK guy that ran for the school board a few years back?
You're kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't get elected. What's the matter?
Well, he didn't get elected, but he had the right to run.
Of course he did.
Of course.
Of course he did.
But,
what are you afraid of? One guy on the school board? Come on.
Yeah.
Whip.
What's he going to do?
Yeah.
Segregate the classrooms?
Yeah. Can you take that hood off? I want to see who I'm talking to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I get such a big kick out of Pelosi. The other day she claimed she's a classic Catholic, and don't use words like that against me. Well, she's totally secular. I mean, the definition of secular is denoting attitudes, activities, or other things that have no religious or spiritual basis, meaning, she doesn't believe in God, you know, she believes in temporal, worldly, and earthly things.
Well, she prays for Trump.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's
She prays
secular.
for Trump.
She's a totally secular person, you know.
Please, Lord, send a ginormous lightning bolt down, hit the orange man in the back of the head with it.
That's right.
That's her prayer.
Yeah.
The Orange Man. What a great nickname. I love it.
It's you know, I don't know. They seem to get away with it, and like you said, Tom, I do not care what you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
It's yours. Do it. But when you start infringing in my life, giving me a hard time over nothing, I might have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't expect me to call mountains trees just because you like it, or
Right.
you know, I'm not gonna change that just because it hurts your feelings if I don't call mountains trees.
And the other thing is, the last thing here from me, Tom, is this: don't tell me I got to reduce CO2 to 0 because that's suicidal. I'm not doing that.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, Pete, you've heard me say, not my circus, not my monkey. Well, in this case, it's my circus. Leave my monkey alone.
That's right.
That's right. Get your hands off my monkey, you crazy freak.
All right. Thanks, Pete.
Have a good one.
All right. Merry Christmas. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Hi, Tom and Shane. This is Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. KKK and ISIS are not protected groups; they're terrorists.
That's true. They're not. So.
And when it's when a group goes to the destruction of others, then they are not protected. So I think we need to keep that in mind.
That's
Gays
true.
and Christians have their beliefs, and they should be protected, those beliefs. But they're not going out and destroying people. So so that's where you break it down is if they are trying to annihilate other people, then they're not a protected group. So.
Like secular atheists, they're a protected group, right? And they don't have a belief of anything. So there you go.
All right.
No, I don't know. I don't know if atheists. Most of the discrimination laws are for hiring and firing.
That's correct.
Men, women, race, origin, whatever. I don't know if atheism is protected or not, but you're right. They have the right not to pray wherever they want.
That's right.
And then there again, if they're destructive in their beliefs and harmful to other people, that's wrong. But if they're just their belief, then it should be protected. So
I'll agree. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Donna.
Thanks,
bye.
Donna.
All right. Merry Christmas to you. All right, we've got to pay some bills here at the bottom of the hour, or get paid some bills, I guess I should say. We're going to have the Bozeman gun shows coming up, so you want to hear about that and some other things. We got Montana State News, Fox News. It's right at the bottom of the hour, 30 minutes after the hour, so we'll be right back with more. Folks want to know about the Time Magazine Person of the Year, and we'll talk about that when we come back as well. So we're ready for that one.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 30 degrees outside. We got a caller patiently waiting on the phone. And caller, you are on the air. What's up?
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
I'd like to get back to a Monday program for just a second.
Sure.
I would like to address the texters that constantly text in and call Trump supporters a cult. I wish they would be more original and stop listening to the voices in the drive-by media, because that's all they're doing. They're not original at all when they say things like that. So I wish the Texans would come up with more original, opinions. That's all. In that, and another thing is I wish a lot of folks out there, the Democrats, would follow the lead of the Speaker of the House and not hate anybody.
Yeah, let's pray for all of us.
Yeah, and pray for pray.
Yeah,
she does.
Yeah.
No, I mean, follow her lead. If you're concerned and you're amiable and you're a decent human being, be like the Speaker of the House. Pray Pray for the president. Pray for your leaders. Pray for your neighbors. And be happy. It's Christmas.
This is the time of year to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. Appreciate it. All right. Well, let's see. From our text line to one of your last texters. The real wow is that a duly recognized, legally elected president can't trust certain officers in the FBI and CIA to tell the truth and obey the law. These officers should also investigate fairly. You can't argue that people like Hillary Clinton and James Comey are scrutinized and held accountable to the same degree that Trump is. Get real. Comey is delusional if he believes Horowitz FISA warrant reports vindicated him. People like Hillary and Comey have brought disgrace to longtime venerable American institutions. Remember, Democrats, if your side, it's your side that came up with the deny defense for another POS Bill Clinton. So there you are.
Real quick, the point I want to make about Comey is he blew the election for Hillary, and
yeah, he did.
And he didn't say anything about Trump. And now we find out that he investigated Hillary, but he was spying on Trump. I mean, who is this guy? Think about.
Well, it's obvious. It's obvious who he is, Shade. He's a Russian asset.
I don't know what it is, but I mean, you read this Horowitz report, and you would remember back what he did to Hillary before the election. And he was wiretapping and listening to Trump's election. And it's just like, why? He could have just as easily came out and accused Trump of working with the Russians because he claims he knew it and he'd signed FISA warrants to that effect. So it's just, I haven't tried to figure it out because I can't.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm on my way to work, and I'm listening to your excellent program.
Well, thank you.
The last caller was, he seemed to be a very nice, sincere man.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, really, how many people do think Speaker Pelosi prays for the president?
Well, I don't know. It's hard.
I can't believe. I do not believe her anymore in anything she says.
Yeah.
And they are really under a lot of pressure because someone is putting the pressure on them.
Well, every time she talks about the children, I think of abortion. Oh, save the children or children in cages. Oh my God! But yeah.
I think of multiple things when she talks about the children, and when she talks about the founders. This is one of the first times that Democrats have talked about the Constitution and the founders because they don't really care. And I don't think Pelosi is a Catholic in the strict sense of the word because she's a supporter of abortion, and I don't think she prays for the president.
Yeah.
And thank you and Shane, for your great program.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Christmas.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Merry Christmas to you. All right. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more right after this. 17 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 30 degrees outside. Shane has a point of order. The chair recognizes Shane Madaman.
The Dow Jones is down 5 at 27,873. Standard & Poor's 500 is at 3138, up 7. NASDAQ 100, 8368, up 21. Europe is looking slow. The FTSE in London is down 11 because there are elections tomorrow.
Yep.
But the DAX is showing strength. The CAC in France is up, as well as the FTSE in Italy. Asian markets are strong in China, but the Japanese market is off. Interesting thing in the commodity world, oil is only $6 away from turning the commodities market, 59.13 in crude oil in the U.S. Brent is 63.94. Natural gas is still a problem, folks. $2.29. Got to see it over $3 to make all this natural gas in your country worth it. Heating oil for the winters at $1.94. Gold is holding strong at $14.68. Silver is at $16.65. And the 10-year bond is $1.82. 30-year bond in the U.S. $2.24. Great investment. Currencies are holding their own. Nothing major change. $1.10 on the euro. But my gosh, this British pound sterling, moved 5 basis points from 127 back to 131, which is great to see. No change in the value of the yuan, but keep in mind, no currency in China anymore, folks. There's no handheld currency traded or exchanged in currency in China anymore. That means no underground market. There's your market wrap up for this day. Trying to get through it quick so you can get back to local news.
And well done, I might add. Well, we were going to talk about the Time Magazine Person of the Year, and that is, of course, Greta Thunberg. If you don't know who Greta Thunberg is, she's a 16-year-old autism sufferer, I guess, who addressed the UN regarding climate change. Climate change is a major problem for Greta, and she is the Time Person of the Year for a whole bunch of reasons. One, you can't dispute it because A, she's a child, B, she's a woman, C, she's handicapped. So there can be no objection to her being Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
And it was so funny because the media yesterday was touting the whistleblower.
Yeah, the whistleblower should have been, or Trump. Look at all he's done. Look at all he's done this year.
When I heard him talking about it might be the whistleblower, I'm thinking, I don't think Time wants to put a blank picture of a person up. They got to have somebody with a picture.
Yeah, so there we go. Oh, gosh, the texts are piling up. IG report, total exoneration of the FBI. Well, Shane is such a liar. The IG report proves nobody spied on the Trump campaign, and in the same one, let's see. It says, let's see. The IG report, nobody spied on Trump. They surveilled Carter, the Russian asset page. Well, wasn't he part of the Trump administration? Wasn't he the campaign manager at the time?
No, he left the campaign in May of 2016 because he'd gone to Russia, went to the campaign, said, I've been to Russia, I don't know. And they said, great, so he left. But the point is he worked for the CIA. He was working for the CIA.
Yeah.
So, folks, you got to read the report. Even the networks and CNN have admitted how terrible the FBI acted, and they were spying on a presidential campaign and your president for another 6 months after he took office.
Yeah. Shane is such a liar. IG report proves nobody spied on the Trump campaign.
Right. Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah.
I don't.
Not only did they do it, it was intelligence. It was an intelligence operative situation because of the FISA warrants. I mean, look, Horowitz's job was to review the FISA warrants or Pfizer warrants that were provided. 57 issues he had with it, and 17 criminal issues he had with it.
With the FBI
FISA warrants. Yeah. 4 of which Comey signed and Rosenberg, of course, signed the last one.
Yeah. Rigging an election is not a crime in America. What's wrong with these Democrats? He did nothing wrong. Well, if anybody can tell me how you can rig an election, by all means, I'm open. Please tell me.
Oh, well, look at Hillary. She spent, her and the National Democratic Party spent $20 million on the Steele dossier to affect the election.
Yeah. Well, but
that doesn't matter, though.
Yeah. Well, when somebody walks into the ballot box, how do they get them to suddenly, I'm in the ballot box, I've got to vote for Trump. I was going to vote for Hillary, but oh my God, I'm in the ballot box, I've got to vote for Trump. Who's making you do that?
Yeah,
tell me who is has a gun to your head in the ballot box. Oh, I didn't notice that gun there.
Well, I think there may become a time where you aren't allowed to take your cell phone in because people are probably going to Google it and see what Google tells them to do.
Well, that may be. It could be. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
This is Clint.
Hey, Clint.
Good morning, good sir. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Shane. I got something to say, three things here. Have you boys read Snowden's book, Permanent Record?
Haven't read it. I don't know if Shane has.
No.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. No. You told us about it. You went and bought it, and you said you read it. Yeah.
You want to get that book and read it. What I do, I generally can sit down and read a book, just the whole thing. But this in here makes me so damn mad that I have to just read a chapter and digest it. And then maybe in a couple of days, then I'll go back and get mad again, see?
Yeah.
Well, what happened there is, let me tell you something, and I'll tell everybody this. According to Mr. Snowden, the NSA has spied on everybody in this United States. They have a record of everything. And their record keeping is in Salt Lake City, in a great big, out of Salt Lake, in a great big building. Now, when you say that people say that they never spied on the president, that's a damn lie. They have. They've spied on every president the NSA has since the NSA was formed. And one other thing, Constantine, you know who he was?
Yes.
Okay, he was a Roman emperor, right?
That's correct. Moved the capital of the world to Constantinople, Istanbul.
He's the one that had the Bible canonized, right?
Correct.
Okay, now why did he have that Bible canonized?
Because he saw a miracle when he won his battle, and he saw a message from God in the final battle to win control. And from that point on, he believed in God, and he was non-secular.
That's right. But the main reason that he canonized that Bible, if you remember and read history, he was fighting how many different tribes? And he was getting tired of fighting all of them, the various different factions. So these factions that he was fighting were sent to Constantinople to canonize the Bible. And some of them they left in, and some of them they left out, some of the books. Now, King George was very dominant with the English people over religion. So a lot of our folks left England and came here because of religious beliefs and taxation. And there where they taxed you, you didn't pay it, they put you in jail. Well, what happened here was the American people, when they got here, and they formed the Constitution, that's why you have the First Amendment to give you the right of any religious belief that you want. That is why. And the thing is, these religious organizations have taken a lot of things way out of context. And they've created a lot of dissent, in not only in the United States, but in the world, as you know. You got the Muslims, and you got the Hindus, and you got all these various different religions and the Buddhists, and everyone believes different. So what we do is we send our missionaries out to try to have people, believe in Christianity. We want to preach the word of God, our God. But these folks have gods too. And so consequently what we have is wars. These people back in New Jersey that killed the people there in the Jewish markets, the kosher market. What's that say to you about religion? You see, people hate the Jews, okay? They shouldn't hate the Jews, but they do. You should love everybody and give everybody a chance in life. But what's happened to us here, Tom and Shane, to me, in my old age here, and I ramble on like an old man, what's happened to me is it makes me sick to see my nation and my people believe the way they do. And like the one guy said about Christmas, you better sit down and pray to your God, whichever one you have, that this nation holds together. This nation is not holding together right now. Between the House and the Senate and the President, there's more dissension in this country since the Civil War. And people better wake up. They better wake up and do a lot of praying to whichever God that you believe in.
All right. Got to go, Clint. Hey, thanks for the call.
That was my speech for the day.
All right, good deal. You did
Merry
well.
Christmas.
See you soon. Thanks. All right, we got to take another short break. We'll be right back. 3 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, and we've got a caller patiently waiting, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Morning. This is Mike.
Hi, Mike.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry
and
Christmas
amen
to
to what?
Merry Christmas.
And amen to Clint.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I want to tell you how you rig an election.
Okay.
First of all, you become Secretary of State of Georgia, and then,
Okay.
which would be Brian Kemp,
Yeah.
and then you throw over 300,000 people off the voter rolls, and then you win the election.
Yeah. Well,
Because-
actually, they had more Democrats vote and more blacks vote in Georgia after they did that than they ever had before. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, some there's been voter suppression.
Aging.
I think that's somewhat of a, I don't know, red herring, but
No, okay.
yeah.
So in Georgia, Greg Palast, who is an investigative reporter,
Mm-hmm.
is investigating this, and he's actually found all the names to over 300,000 people who actually still live in Georgia,
Yeah.
who Brian Kemp claimed moved out of Georgia.
Ah.
And Stacey Abrams actually is just paid Greg Palast's bill because Greg Palast has no funding really.
Yeah.
But he's actually going to go to some other states, and they're going to do this too. And they're suing Brian Kemp, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that turns out in court. So if that was illegal, then hey, maybe they'll maybe Stacey will be the senator from there.
So I got a question, an economical question.
Sure.
How is it that oil and commodities like this can be sold below the cost of production? I mean, if I took in my business and did that, I'd be toast in a week,
Yeah. Well, we're up against the top of the hour, so we'll have to answer that when we come back. I guess I don't understand how they set that price if a computer's doing it or what, Yeah.
So I'll wait for my answer.
Yeah, we can talk about that when we come back. Yeah, that's a good question.
Perfect.
I like that question, so we'll talk about it. All right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Hey, thanks for the call. All right. All right, top of the hour, Fox News coming up, Montana State News and Brooke Foster weather. And Shane and I'll come back and we'll talk oil. All right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. All right, thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m., 31 degrees outside. And from our text line, I can tell you how to rig the election. Play the electoral college game instead of the popular vote game. Works every time. If you don't understand how the elections work, don't complain about the results. Well, let's assume that Montana, with its 56 counties, was the United States of America. If that was the case and we didn't have an electoral college, you'd only need Billings, Great Falls, and Missoula to elect the president or elect the governor every year for forever. So if you want 10 cities to perennially elect your president, then by all means abolish the electoral college. But that means Montana would have no say at all. North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, any of the states out here would have no say. California, New York, and the East Coast and the West Coast would decide your president every single year, and more likely it would be Democrats. And if you're only going after the popular vote in large cities, that leads to corruption beyond belief. I mean, you would go into those cities with money poured out of your pockets to influence just those few cities that would give you the election year after year after year. But with the Electoral College, you got a campaign in. How come everybody's in Iowa right now? Iowa? Why are they in Iowa? Why is everybody in Iowa? Why are they in New Hampshire of all places? It's because of the Electoral College. All right.
That's right. And as we pointed out, without the Electoral College, which the Democrats are opposed to, they would control the vote, as you say. And the reason is they're now a regional party. They're just in urban centers and 16 states basically. And that's why this whole issue about the electoral college on their side of it. Funny, they don't want to protect the right of representation under the Constitution when it comes to electing, the principles of your government. But they want to protect the Constitution from a president somehow demeaning it. Like they choose what they want to protect and they deny what they don't.
And some states have gone to splitting their electoral votes, if you want to do that, more power to you too. So
like
Maine does that, New Hampshire does it too, I believe. So a couple states that do that. Let's see. Clint has said on this station right before Trump got elected that the Electoral College is wrong and the people vote should be what we use. Does he still think that? Well, I don't know. He can't call again because he'd be double dipping. But I don't remember him saying that. But I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he does. We had a question about oil earlier, Shane.
That's right. The last caller in the before the block ended, or in the last block. So. Here's the bottom line to oil. It's a cartel. Cartel is an association of manufacturers or suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition. Now, why is that the case? Well, as we know right now, the world is divided in value with oil. Crude oil in Europe, because of the Russians, is at $59.19. Brent, which is Brent in Europe is $63.98. For the benefit of the Russians, and crude oil in the U.S. is $59.19. But you'll be interested to know that over 50% of all oil that leaves a port changes its destination at sea. Now, here's the deal. Any ship of oil that leaves a port today, under the guidelines and restrictions the U.S. has set up because of sanctions, has to notify the port authority they're leaving what their destination is, so they don't break any sanctions. But the minute they're out in territorial waters, 200 miles from that country, be it the U.S. or in the Middle East, the traders can buy that cargo of oil and move it anywhere they want. So if you have a cargo of oil coming from the U.S. at $59.21, and you get out into the Atlantic Ocean, you can send it anywhere in Europe other than maybe it was supposed to go to China, right?
Well, Iran would be the one place you can't send it.
Well, no, but my point is why send it to China at $59.20 if you can send it to your European country and sell it to them for $64.01? That's all. Yeah. So it's a cartel. There's a purpose for the two valuations of oil. And the key to Aramco was they locked down Saudi Arabia to stay in the cartel, to make the American dollar the tradable currency for oil, so that China and Russia couldn't change that, because they're trying really hard to.
Yeah, they want to change that. Now, the caller was asking, how can you sell oil for less than it costs you to get it out of the ground?
Well, you can sell oil at a loss if you want, and we've talked to that. Right now, fracking for oil in the U.S. is a losing cause, which is why no one's investing in oil companies. Natural gas has to get over $3. It's $2.28 for even the most expensive fracking operation in your country to make money. And fracking crude oil has to get to 65. So at $59.22, they're they're $5 away basically, or $6 away from breaking even.
Well, so and the other thing too, that just because the set price is $59, the refineries don't always pay $59 to get it.
No, they don't.
They're going to pay less than probably $59 to get it. So.
There's a distinction in oil.
Yeah, it's hard to see how you can make a living selling your product for less than it costs you to get it.
That's right. There's a distinction in oil of what they call its weight, meaning how thick or
light it is. Yeah,
exactly. So heavy oil from the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, is like 52. And so you have to have a specific type of refining to break it down.
Right.
Whereas the oil from North Dakota and the Bakken, is very small. It's like 48.
Yeah.
So it's almost pure. I mean, if you take a bottle of it, it looks like oil.
Yeah, I was say you could almost pour it in your car right out of the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's different valuations to it, and it's quite fascinating. You should go look it up. Just Google oil, and it's just a carbon-based mineral, and see all the different things they make from it, because it's quite fascinating. It's all done by heat.
Yeah. Well, this is the reason when we talk about inflation that fuel and food are not included, because they're all commodities. They're all traded at various prices.
That's right.
And, to include them in inflation it'd be changing almost by the minute.
That's right. The most major cartels left today are cotton, oil, silver, and gold. And foodstuffs were always cartels up until 60 years ago, when they developed future markets for them. And that changed all that and broke down all the cartels, on corn and wheat and soy and so forth, rice. So, we're getting to a better place in the world when it comes to valuations and fair trade value on commodities. But right now, it's still in the hand of a few people trading futures.
Yeah. Why aren't primaries all on one day? By the time we get to vote, it's already decided. Iowa and New Hampshire have too much influence, and I would agree with that. I think we have Super Tuesday, which has 10 states, 12 states, something like that. I forget the exact number, but there's a lot of states on Super Tuesday. March, I think, somewhere in there.
That's right.
March or April, I forget which, but we'll have to keep that handy as the things start. After the first of the year.
I got to bring this up because it's so huge.
Yeah.
So you remember back in 2015, you and I broke this story, and no one has broken it yet in your country. The ACA, Section 1341, Transitional Reinsurance Program for insurance companies, reinsurance. Okay, folks, if you remember, Tom and I broke this story. We've talked about it several times. But under the Affordable Care Act, your government reimburses insurance companies for any losses they've suffered.
Right.
And we brought it up because Human Health Services had lost $2 billion and couldn't explain it. So we did a deep dive, and we found out Great Western, which is one of the Dow 30, got paid $1.2 billion in reimbursements.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later walked away from the ACA. And then the Duck one, what is it? The Duck Insurance Company. Aflac got $450 million. They walked away. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up for everybody, because this is going to be fun to watch, they filed a lawsuit yesterday demanding that they get this reinsurance payback, because guess what Trump did? Closed the door on it. Because it was the Human Health Service.
Well, I think
secretary.
it was only for 3 years anyway, wasn't it? Initially, 3 or 4 years.
No,
because the unions in 2018 were supposed to get a break. They had the Cadillac plans that were supposed to stay in effect. So I think they were only going to reimburse the insurance companies for a short period of time,
right?
So they could adjust adjust to this, and the government set all the pricing of X-rays and knee replacements and whatever. Through Medicare.
Right. But the great thing is Trump's Human Health Service secretary has told all the insurance companies, take a flying leap, right? So now they're suing to get money because they say, no, you couldn't, you can't put a sunshine law on the ACA. This is great. So we'll keep you informed as that goes along.
Yeah. So. All right, let's see. Time Magazine Person of the Year, a teenager who wants us to eat babies to stop global warming. How sad. I know. News reported 300 Saudi aviation cadets training in Florida. If true, the military is asking for trouble. Well, they've grounded those 300 folks, those Saudi folks. They've grounded them, and I don't know if they've quarantined them or not, but they've certainly grounded them. They're not allowed in planes. They're not flying anywhere. So.
We brought this up when this first happened last week.
Yeah.
And both you and I talked about how could they allow a prince of Saudi Arabia to be flying an F-16 in southern Florida? I mean, didn't didn't guys from Saudi Arabia fly planes into buildings? I mean, on 9/11?
Yeah, that's the that's the thing.
Scary. It's scary.
The Navy has suspended flight training for Saudi military students at 3 bases in Florida following last week's shooting at Naval Air Station Pensacola and by a member of the Saudi Royal Air Force. About 300 Saudi students will be affected, the Navy said Tuesday. While the flight training is suspended, classroom instruction will continue. But 3 people were killed and 8 injured in Friday's attack, and the gunman Mohammed Sayed al-Sharami, 21, was shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy. His motive remains unknown, and the FBI is operating on the assumption the shooting was an act of terrorism.
Ouch.
So yeah, we question that. Why the Saudis of all people, why do you have 300 Saudis here who it was pretty much 20 Saudis that ran into the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon and Pennsylvania and wherever. So I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is there, unless they're all relatives of the royal family, or unless they donated a boatload of money to some politician somewhere.
Yeah.
So
very strange.
I don't know. It's it's a little strange to all of us, I think. Oh, let's see what else we got over here. Trump only demanded Ukraine. Trump only demanded Ukraine announce an investigation on fake news CNN. He didn't care if they performed an investigation. This isn't rocket science. He wanted to damage Biden, who announced his run and was beating Trump in the polls. Well, he isn't beating Trump in the polls anymore, at least not in Pennsylvania, not in Wisconsin, and not in Michigan. Trump has gone ahead in those polls.
Points.
Yeah.
I got to make these 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
You really think Trump needs Ukraine to win 2020? I mean, that's a joke, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, you think Trump has to do something to hurt Joe Biden? He's already got the video.
I was going to say, yeah, it's pretty hard to ignore the video there that you got 6 hours to fire this guy, or you're not getting the money. I mean, if that's not bribery, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
But anyway, that's where we are. So we got to take another really short break. We're back in 90 seconds, so stay tuned. A lot more coming up. We've still got to talk about the coal strip, and gosh, there's a new subdivision in the county, and Belgrade Health is going to expand their ICU, and boy, a lot to talk about. So we'll be right back with more right after this. 22 minutes after the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11, 2019, 31 degrees outside. Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing on the line. Tommy Gallup, your morning mayor in the house. And from our text line, 478-8298, your man, God, Trump loves Saudi Arabia. So,
there you go.
Yeah, right. I'm not sure about that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go over here, find another one. We're getting caught up on this. Pelosi praise, sincere praise of blessings on Donald Trump. That's hilarious. Liberals are also kind, forgiving, and warm-hearted. We could really learn from them. LOL. Jesus said, "You'll know the bad ones by their fruit," and Nancy Pelosi and the liberals' fruit stinks to high heaven. So there you go. Fox News Radio contradicts Trump rally lies. Trump never lies, so it must mean the FBI, Bob Mueller, Horowitz are lying and faked documents in their reports. So, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Could Shane explain away the over 250 contacts with Trump campaign in Russia, and how many Russians do any of you or your listeners know? Trump and cronies seem to know a lot. Well, one of the things in the AG report that the FBI lying to the FISA court to get warrants to spy on the Trump campaign, 443 pages worth, as Shane pointed out earlier. It took AG Bill Barr one paragraph to translate what all of it means in the real world, and don't pick it up because you might burn yourself. The Inspector General's report now makes it clear the FBI launched an intrusive investigation of the U.S. presidential campaign on the thinnest of suspicions that, in my view, were insufficient to justify the steps taken. It is also clear that from its inception, the evidence produced by the investigation was consistently exculpatory. Exculpatory. I'll get it in a minute. Exculpatory, yeah. Nevertheless, the investigation and surveillance was pushed forward for the duration of the campaign and deep into President Trump's administration. In the race to obtain and maintain FISA surveillance of Trump campaign associates, FBI officials misled the FISA court, omitted critical exculpatory facts from their filings, and suppressed or ignored information negating the reliability of their principal source. The malfeasance and misfeasance detailed in the inspector's report reflects a clear abuse of FISA process. And because the AG has no right to subpoena and can't lock anyone up, he can only refer people for prosecution. Currently, most of the people who conducted the abuse have been fired and were out of the purview of the IG. So most of them have been kicked to the curb, so to speak.
Yeah, and so once they leave government, he can't interview them.
Yeah.
Because he has no subpoena power.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's no subpoena power, so... Yeah, the IG report, however, found that officials lied and omitted helpful information to Trump campaign officials who were being spied on, but couldn't determine if the malfeasance was politically motivated. Well, why would you spy on a president if it's not political?
Exactly.
I don't know.
No, but to say this whole thing isn't political is a joke. I mean, come on.
I was going to say, I don't know how much more political it can be.
I mean, when a guy a week after your president takes the oath of office, Representative Green from Texas, goes in the well of the House and says that he's there to declare that he's filing articles of impeachment. And then 2 weeks later in an interview asked why he's doing it. And he said, because if we don't impeachment, we'll lose the election in 2020. And this was like 3 years ago. He knew they'd lose the election.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
U.S. Attorney John Durham is looking into why Trump's spying case was hatched by people clearly pulling for Hillary Clinton to win the election. Durham also issued an extraordinary statement today saying, based on the evidence collected to date, and while our investigation is ongoing, last month we advised the Inspector General that we do not agree with some of the report's conclusion as to the predication and how the FBI case was opened.
And let us not forget that Durham first started out, and his instructions by your Attorney General was to review the predicate for the investigation. Mm-hmm. Well, he's found out so much that he's reported back to your Attorney General, and now it's become a criminal investigation. That's different, folks. No one's done this.
Yeah.
Since Comey investigated and all this. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now if he has findings of criminality, he can charge him. And not only that, he can take him to jail. He doesn't have to ask anybody permission, form a grand jury, charge them, take them to jail. This is now, this isn't the FBI getting process crimes and getting people to admit to guilt.
Yeah.
This is charging him and finding him guilty in a court of law.
Exactly right. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling on the morning soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Triple B here, boys. How are you doing today?
Living our dream here. Merry Christmas.
Hey, I just had a little epiphany there. I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong here, Shane can correct me, anybody's going to change your mind about anything, no matter what this stuff brings.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right on that. Yeah.
Except for one group.
Yeah.
33% of the electorate's Democrat, 32% Republican, and the guys in the middle, the 35%, independents and undecided.
Yeah, I agree.
That's who they're fighting over. So that's who's vote. That's the guys.
That's what this is about.
That's the guys. Hey, I got to go. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call.
let's talk a little more local politics, Tom.
All right, we're going to do that coming right back. We'll do that coming back. Hey, thanks a lot. All right. All right, we got to duck out of here. And, well, we got Montana State News, Fox News, Brooke Foster Weather, Cashman Nursery, talking about the Christmas trees and all that. And we'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned. 24 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, 31 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line, and Shane has a point of order. The chair recognizes Shane Matobin from Vancouver, British Columbia for a 5-minute spiel.
No, Mayor. It's just, could everyone please take a moment and say some prayers for Sydney, Australia?
Okay.
The Otago Daily Times of Australia. Firefighters have a long night ahead of them, with strong winds expected to reach northern New South Wales fire grounds around midnight today. More than 78 fires are raging across Australian state, 47 uncontained, and more than 10 subject to emergency warnings. The Greater Sydney, Greater Hunter regions have been issued catastrophic danger ratings. The Rural Fire Service on Tuesday afternoon issued their first watch and act alert for a blaze in Sydney as the city faces a day of catastrophic fire danger, the highest possible ratings. The RFC issued the alert for a fire just north of Penrith in Western Sydney, which includes a natural reserve. Folks, Sydney is under attack, and we possibly could see the first major city of the world burn because of drought. Now, I'm not defending or saying it's because of global warming. I'm just saying, say a prayer for all these people in a city of millions. Because this is horrific. I have to sit here, and my daughter lives in Australia, so please stop for a moment and say prayers for Australia, our sister country of the Commonwealth, and a great country club.
Yeah. Looking at the videos from Australia, you can barely see your hand in front of your face for the smoke. Right. I mean, it's horrific. People are told people are told to stay inside. Close up the house as much as you can, and but the smoke is just unbelievable there. It's just horrible, and I think a lot of people, the respiratory, there's going to be some loss of life from respiratory failure there. No question about it. Some of these folks that have respiratory problems or on oxygen or whatever they're gonna. You can't keep that smoke out of your home. You just can't, and. You could seal it up as much as you want, but all houses have to breathe, So, I mean, it's just not gonna work. So, let's see, local news. We got to talk about Colstrip because Northwestern Energy said Tuesday it'll seek a regulatory permission to acquire part of Puget Sound Energy's share of the Colstrip power plant for $1. As some utilities look to unload their coal-generating power. The agreement would involve taking over the Washington State Utility 25% ownership interest in Colstrip's Unit 4 and also purchasing an interest in the separate Colstrip transmission system for about $3.75 million. That would boost South Dakota-based Northwestern Energy's ownership interest in the power plant to 55%. Amid questions about the plant's future. Customers' bills are not expected to increase in part because Northwestern Energy will not have to buy as much higher power cost on the open market during the peak usage. So even with projected operating and maintenance costs factored in, purchasing more of Colstrip Unit 4 for only $1 is by far the most affordable way to help close the gap in the capacity shortage facing Southwestern's customers. So good for them. They should certainly look into that. So,
Well, I feel bad about it because regrettably, BC Power provides a massive amount of electricity to the West Coast all the way down to San Diego. And it's regrettable there's nothing there to help, but it is part of your grid, and it does help in that matter. But yeah, this is an issue that we've talked about. We should go back to utilities, state-run utilities, and make it independent. You should break up your power grid because it's a danger to the entire nation. It really is.
Yeah, how true. All right, we got to take another short break. Shane, we got a caller on the line if you want to chat with them for a moment. We'll be right back. 17 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. We have a caller waiting on the line. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, Daniel R. Peterson has something that may not be taken well, but if this is an agent of freedom, I should have the freedom to speak, and people within legal limits should respond the way they want. Now, I don't think that this is a country with a very sound mental health in general. People talk about them shooters and them politicians manipulating government. What about looking at our own mental health? The way we don't treat each other with respect. People end up raging about the system and telling how we should fear the government, ridicule each other, and they act like all life is a mean-spirited football game between us and them. It reached a pinnacle the other day when somebody called up and said, well, we learned to kill in the Army, and if we have a civil war or a race war, I'm ready to kill. That would be the last thing on a normal person's mind. This talk about how great a country is kind of a cover-up for an unhealthy psychology that has crept into this nation, and we're like frogs in a slowly boiling kettle of animosity.
Well, you can blame social media for a lot of that. It gives people the chance to anonymously bash each other without doing it face-to-face, which they would probably never do. And we've become an electronic generation, and that's where the division comes in, because if you have a particular belief, there are tons of people who will side with you on your belief, and they will be happy to go toe-to-toe with your opponents on the other side of the belief, and the two of you will never reconcile. You will, it's our way or the highway on both sides.
It shows up in the states. In Texas, the capital is full of liberals. What is the capital of Texas?
Austin.
Yeah, Austin, Texas, and then Texas in general is a very conservative state. They were with Bozeman. Apparently, Bozeman people are more liberal. I consider myself middle of the road. I could go either way. I've been independent from the word go. I've voted third party whenever I can, because I want to break up that two-party gridlock, that it's like two giants holding on to each other. They can't go forward, they can't go backwards.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks for the call.
Thanksgiving.
All right. Merry Christmas, Daniel.
Yeah.
Let's see, from our text line, Tom, CNN reported that only 43% of Americans supported impeachment a few weeks ago. Now they report that over 50% of Americans support impeachment, with a significant increase in the number of conservatives favoring impeachment of President Donald Trump. Is this true? Well, I'm not a pollster, so I have no idea if it's true or not. I haven't seen most of the reports I've seen. People are right on the pretty much 50-50 about impeachment. So I would put it there, I guess.
Look, the important polls that are out, once again, it's about the undecided and the nonpartisan voters in your country, 35%. And in the key states, they've now switched, and all the polls across, even Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, oppose. We're talking about undecided voters, oppose what the Democrats are doing. That's key. So there's some polls. Those are polls that are important too.
Well, I don't know how important they are, because we're a long way from the election. I mean, they're important at the moment, but we don't even have a true
Democratic nominee,
a true nominee. I don't think it's going to be Biden. I just don't. Maybe it will. But
yeah, but from the first debate, they all raised their hands on 3 questions, so they're all the same.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Well, that's what Bloomberg is saying. Hey, all these guys are the same. I'm the different element here, and he's come up in the polls quite a bit too. He may be in the next debate.
Yeah, he's at 5% now, and he's increased his spending from 35 million to 50 million.
Oh yeah,
I love it. Go
absolutely.
Bloomberg.
Put that money out there. Let's stimulate that economy. That's why we had 266,000 jobs. Bloomberg hired 200 of them, or 200,000 of them, I guess, to fund his campaign all over the U.S. So, well, we'll see. We'll see how it comes out, but. In other local news, we got another subdivision slated for west of Bozeman. Maybe we could talk to the county commissioners when they come in on Friday. The Gallatin County Commission unanimously approved the preliminary plat for a 104-lot subdivision near the intersection of Baxter and Love Lane. And I don't know if you've been out to the roundabout out there, but it's quite a deal. So by all means, get out there and take a look. It'll be called the White Horse Ranch Subdivision. It'll sit on 60 acres next to the Black Bull Subdivision and across from the YMCA, if you're familiar with the area out there. The subdivision is one of several developments expected to create hundreds of new homes in that area over the next decade. And the subdivision will include single-family homes and townhouses on lots ranging in size from 3,000 square feet to a little more than an acre. Wow, those are going to be some pricey homes out there, I would say.
McMansions, baby.
Yeah, they're starter castles.
Yeah, there you go.
There will be a 12 acres of open space, of course, and 2 parks. One of the parks will be 5 acres, and 5 acres, if you're wondering how big an acre is, that's the size of a football field without the end zones. So you got 5 football fields out there for your rugrats to run around in, and it'll have play equipment, recreation fields, picnic shelters, and the other will be 0.2 acres, include a pickleball court, a horseshoe pit, and a picnic area. So, man.
Wait, what's a pickleball court?
I have no idea. I don't know. It's a pickleball court. So, I don't know. They don't brief me on this stuff, so. That's your goal for tomorrow. Find out what pickleball is.
Maybe it's a safe spot, like a shift.
Yeah, it's a safe spot. Yeah. Okay. All right, we got to get the Rush update in here and some other things. Red Wing Shoes wants to talk to you, the Sky Federal, and a bunch of other folks. So we'll be right back with more. So stay tuned. Here's Rush. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. We're winding down here, Shane. We had a question about the polls. I went over to Real Clear Politics, and the CNN poll, 910 registered voters, 50% for removal, 45 against. Quinnipiac, 1,553 registered voters, 45 for removal, 51 against. Politico, 50% for removal, 41 no. And The Economist, 47% removal and 43 against. So the average is 48% to remove, 45% to not remove. Now, of course, CNN, Politico, and Economist are all liberal polls, but I'm not sure where Quinnipiac sits in there. That's the university, but being a university, who knows? but at least apparently for the moment, impeachment has had a bit of a revival. At least in the polls.
I don't think there's much doubt they'll impeach him, but just adds to his legacy for history. Mm-hmm. I do think what'll happen is the Senate will not, they won't charge him, and and what'll happen is the Democratic Congress will do it again. Mm-hmm. That's what'll happen.
Yeah.
Like we covered all this, how many times this has occurred in your history. And let's see if he can beat Grant, because they tried to impeach him 4 times.
Yeah. What's interesting is the poll among independents is dead even, 43.3 to 43.3. In The Economist, it's 36 for removal, 37 against. Politico is 46 for removal, 39 against. Quinnipiac is 44 for removal, 52 against. And CNN is 47 for and 45 against. So among Democrats, 85% say yes, remove him. 8% say no. And Republicans, 9% are for removal, and 86% say no. So there you kind of are.
Well, you heard your AG yesterday say that the media is just as responsible for splitting the country as the Democratic Party. And my comment on that real quick is none of these people have apologized for the accusations against your president they made that the Mueller report and Horowitz is disproved. You know, they called him a traitor, or, someone working for the right. And so I mean, as a Canadian, I look at this and I go, wow, if we said stuff like that here under our laws now, you'd go to prison.
You'd go to prison, wouldn't you?
You'd go to prison, yeah.
Oh, man, we're up against the clock. Let's take one quick phone call, and then we got to go. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Oh, hey, guys, it's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you guys. Yeah, hey, quickly, I know it's towards the end. Once it gets to the Senate, though, those numbers will change, because once the Republicans can call witnesses that they want, this whole, sham will be, all of us who follow politics know it, but the average person will see what a sham it is, and what a weak defense this is, and those numbers will change, and then hopefully we can win the Senate. So people think we got to think about those congressional seats in the next election, because we don't want Nancy Pelosi doing this for another 4 years when Trump gets reelected.
There you go. Hey, thanks, Kevin.
All right, thanks.
All right, man. Say goodbye, Shane.
Goodbye, Mayor. We'll talk tomorrow morning on Friday. Everyone, live in the moment.
I think tomorrow's Thursday, but that's okay.
Okay, live in the moment. Live in the moment. Live to work. Be happy, be safe. God bless. Have a great day.
And Merry Christmas. All right. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow. Mike McCormick will be in the house tomorrow, and the county commissioners will be in on Friday. So we've got a full week to go here. So we appreciate you very much out there for listening. Don't forget to get the AM 1450 KMMS app. Don't forget to visit our website, KMMSAM.com. We'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.